a familiar sight in Grand Gaube for those who know Roger Charoux. Painter and designer, Roger Charoux is one of a generation of Mauritian painters whose quest has been constant. Roger fell in love with painting at the age of 5, and since his first exhibition, he has been offering us the vision of his interaction with nature. His early paintings recall the grace of Max Boullé and the muted colors of nature, like in those of the French artists Monet and Manet. Like Max Boullé, like Marcel Lagesse, as a landscape painter, he has chosen to show the light and colors of his island home with a sensibility that verges on sensuality. His paintings offer a coherent view of life, directed mostly towards the physical world, some still life and more particularly landscapes. Houses, streets, trees, fruits, some faces, the shape of the mountain, waves, tumbled rocks in the sea. His recollections flash back to the happy days of his early childhood, of time spent in England. His years of study abroad and his travels in Italy only reinforced his passion for life and for painting.
When I went to England, it was at the Central School of Arts and Design. I studied for 4 years, and there was a very interesting program. When we started the first year, we draw and learn about materials. After the second year, I was especially concerned. But I continued my study till the end. When I came back to Mauritius, I started to teach in fine arts at Trinity College and Loreto Convent in Kyopip, and the College of Saint-Esprit. This was a fantastic experience because there I could see and learn more about paintings and about people. Because there was things interesting because we went on sites to paint.
Roger remembers days gone by with his friend Serge Constantin. Their friendship dates back to the time when he studied painting with Gabriel Gillet. With Serge, they had working sessions with other artists like France Taube, Jocelyn Thomas and Fabien Cangou. They were to share a mutual admiration for Picasso, and Constantin's studio became their laundry boat.
A group of painters decided to come in Atelier de Constantin to study and draw, and there I met several painters such as France Taube, Thomas, Cangou, and we had painting sessions for every week. I named this atelier of Constantin l'Atelier du Dôme Rouge. It looks like the Bateau Lavoir of Picasso. We went to the port, and we went to the streets of Port-Louis, and the famous Rue d'Alembert, which I painted over again.
With its quaint streets, its old houses, its cathedral, its Chinese quarters, its unique market and colorful people, Port Louis held a fascination for him. Fort Louis, as he painted it then, is receding today, buried under high rises, victim of chic and kitsch modernism. It is still there, in a few cobbled streets, some modest colonial houses. History to many of us, but once the landscape of painters like Roger Charoux.
What we call the Constantin group. At the time, the good old Serge Constantin was still.
What I know from Roger is that he is a very good friend. He has been working continuously. And in fact, he's got a lot of preparatory work before his final paintings. And I think that these little bits of papers, preparatory sketches and preparatory watercolors that he does, is what is most appealing in his work. But he does not believe really that this work is serious. Roger should look at his sketches and in a future exhibition.
His love of the sea, the relationship between water and rock, tree and shadow, leaf and cloud, blossom with interesting truth from the very moment he starts his sketch. Sketches that Fabien Cangou and others would very much like to see in an exhibition to give us an insight into the mind of Roger Charoux. From the moment he moves his paintbrush or mixes his colors, his excitement becomes poetry. Yet, his prime quality remains his sense of joy. It takes him a minimum of 4 hours to finish a painting. And since 1962, he has been exhibiting every 2 years.
When I got sufficient work done, and when I am satisfied with them, I then exhibit, say every 2 years, in an art gallery, mainly in Grand Bay and Port Louis waterfront. Apart from landscapes, I'm also fascinated by abstract paintings. I could not find what could trigger it in me until I discovered the modern school of painters. Abstract subjects provide lots of inspiration for creation where I get much pleasure. In addition to landscaping, I like to paint classical nudes, which is the basic of fine arts. In the studio, I have more time to create my own impression of the model, and I can add colors.
Roger recalls with nostalgia and love his grandfather, Alfred Desmarais, one of the first generation of Mauritian painters. His love for his mother and grandmother, and his brother Jacques, who's also an artist. His sons, Nicolas, Marc, and Bernard have all followed in their father's footsteps in one way or another. But Bernard has chosen to paint like his father and his grandfather. Bernard, who went with him to Serge Constantin's studio, and who still today walks around with his father and listens to his advice.
My brother Jacques has learned painting at the Central School of Arts, like I did. And furthermore, my son Bernard is also a painter.
Roger Charoux does exactly the opposite. He paints what he sees. Even now, the designer in him never seems to give free rein completely to the passion of the artist. And like Italian artist Uccello, he could say, how delightful perspective is. This process of seeing is an important part of Roger Charoux's work. He has the ability to give us the coloring that animates nature as he sees it. The successor generation of landscape painters must be thankful to someone like Roger Charoux.